Hello EFD squad and welcome back to the Euro Roundup where you pick our winners and losers. Me and Pato are back an hour later after winners and losers in a slightly warmer room. The heater is working. Apologise if you can hear that low level humming. It's either that or James behind the camera touching himself again. Anyway, our first suggestion comes from @TheKingslayer. And Pato, as a man who has stabbed me in the back several times, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, indeed. Real Madrid battered Sevilla.
What?
They beat them 5-0 at home. All the goals came in the first half, and Cristiano Ronaldo got a brace. It's been a good week for him. He scored against Dortmund on Wednesday, becoming the first player to score in all Champions League group games. Then Thursday, won his 5th Ballon d'Or. Friday, Zidane called him the best player in the history of football. That's hilarious because Zidane was better. And then, of course, got a brace in this match too. Now, Madrid, unsurprisingly, dominated. 59% of the ball, 21 shots to 11, 8 on target to 3, and 92% pass accuracy as a team. So, they are a team. No I in team.
But there is in meat pie, which is an anagram of, yeah.
Now, actually, this performance becomes a little bit more impressive when you look at the people that Los Blancos were missing in this game. Ramos, Varane, Casemiro, they were all out. Nacho came in at centre-back, scored the opening goal, didn't lose an aerial duel all day, and had a 98% pass accuracy. He is an extremely reliable backup, is Nacho. And that win is crucial because it keeps them within 8 points of Barcelona, meaning that when they eventually don't win the title, they can at least say, we didn't lose by that much. By double figures.
Would you say that Nacho is good at dipping in and out of the team? You kind of like that. Anyway, yes, this continues Sevilla's inconsistent start to the season. They may sit 5th, but they have lost 5 out of 15 games. And they're the only side in the top half without a positive goal difference. Now, they've been having a turbulent time of late, haven't they? Eduardo Berizzo, the manager, recuperating after surgery for prostate cancer. Our thoughts are with him. And Steven Nzonzi, the central midfielder. It looks like he wants to leave the club. Ex-Blackburn, ex-Stoke. He's 10 times the player he used to be, isn't he? And he's in high demand, it would seem. But things got worse. This is the first time they've conceded 5 goals to Real Madrid in 30 years as Zidane went with a very ballsy 4-2-4 and it paid off with Vasquez and Asensio playing wide. Vasquez, is he Real Madrid's Jesse Lingard? Yes. Anyway, Real Madrid now off to the Club World Cup this week. It's their last La Liga game until El Clásico on the 23rd. And the gap could be 11 points by then if Barcelona defeat Deportivo, which you'd imagine they will. Los Blancos have only won 3 out of the last 10 Liga El Clásicos and none since April 2016, despite their league dominance of late. Guys, score predictions, comments now.
First up in our losers is Peter Bosz. This comes from @DavidSparkles22. It was a bad weekend for him, wasn't it?
Yes, Dortmund and the slaphead manager not in sparkling form. They lost 2-1 to Werder Bremen, who sits second bottom of the Bundesliga. And subsequently, the Dutchman, only the second Dutchman to coach BVB, was relinquished of his duties. After that promising start, it feels like somewhat of a waste, doesn't it? But alas, Dortmund finished 3rd in their UCL group, admittedly behind Real Madrid and Spurs in the group of death, but more pressingly, they're currently 8th in the Bundesliga, 3 points off UCL places, 5 off second place Leipzig, and 13 off Bayern Munich after leading them, I think, from match day 1 to match day 8.
Something like that, yeah.
Something preposterous like that. Dortmund still joint top goal scorers in the bully with Bayern, but they've conceded 23 goals in 15 games. Only 4 teams have conceded more. Don't ask me which ones. And they've only won once since September against 3rd division Magdeburg.
It was hard to imagine this after that brilliant start. The Peter Bosz would be gone after just 7 months. They kept clean sheets in their first 5 games. Aubameyang had 8 goals, scoring in the first 6 games of the season. They had 16 points out of 18. That's their best start ever. And they had a goal difference of plus 18. That's the best in Bundesliga history after 6 matches. I know, it's actually unbelievable, but people were played out of position. That's been the complaint among a lot of Dortmund fans, that he didn't know how to use people. Weigl was being used in an unfamiliar role. De Hood seems to have gone backwards. Aubameyang has still been scoring, but the players around him, they were a little bit too reliant on Christian Pulisic. It's been chopping and changing, and people feel that he's a little bit naive, which was kind of our criticism of him last season when he was at Ajax, particularly in the Europa League final. Anyway, he's been replaced by Peter Stöger, who was sacked by Köln last week after a winless start to the season. In fact, Köln have 3 points. That's the worst total after 15 games in Bundesliga history. But Stöger doesn't actually have a terrible CV. He got Köln promoted from the second division, took them to 5th last year, getting European football for the first time in 25 years. Now, in the meantime, Anthony Modeste left, and they've kind of gone off a cliff. So it will be interesting to see how he can do with them, especially seeing as there are rumours flying around that this is a temporary appointment. Is that not right, Hamill?
Well, apparently, the hierarchy at BVB have agreed in principle to sign Julian Nagelsmann at the end of the season. So, next year, we could see Thomas Tuchel and Nagelsmann head-to-head at Bayern and Dortmund, which is a pretty tasty prospect, isn't it? Not as tasty as currywurst, though. Love currywurst. In an unorthodox move, our next winners come from Canada. But what can we say? Renegades, rogues, lovable rogues, mavericks. Pato, you actually stuck these in the script, didn't you? So I think you should boot us off.
Yeah, well, Toronto won the MLS Cup with a 2-0 victory over Seattle Sounders in the final. It was actually a replay of last year's final, which ended in a 0-0 draw before Seattle won on penalties. It's Toronto's first MLS title, and they add it to the Supporters' Shield, which is given to the team with the best regular season record before the playoffs, and the Canadian Championship, which is their domestic cup, meaning they're the first team in MLS history to win the treble. They also have the best points total in MLS history. They got 69 points. They finished 12 points clear at the top of the Eastern Conference, which is extremely tough. That includes the New York team, for instance. It's a really tough division. Whereas Seattle came second in the Western Conference to the Portland Timbers. Now, after that 0-0 draw last season, Toronto said we need more creativity from midfield, and they added former Barcelona attacker Victor Vázquez for the 2017 season, and he scored 10 and assisted 16 in 36 to bring the title to Canada. And he made a telling contribution in this game, didn't he?
Yeah, Vázquez wrapped up the final in the 92nd minute after Jose Altidore put them 1-0 up on the hour mark. Jose Altidore, infamously not prolific at Sunderland. 1 goal, but, you know, he's won a treble. So fair to the guy. Toronto on the night, 22 shots, 11 on target. 50%. It's good, isn't it? Well, the Seattle Sounders only managed 7 with 2 on target, so this was a fairly comprehensive win. Altidore was named MVP and ended the season with 18 goals in 33 appearances. Wouldn't fancy meeting him down a dark alley, would you? He is massive. Brick house. Especially if you've just, you know, brought up the whole Sunderland thing. Michael Bradley, also brilliant. One of the US's sort of best exports in the last 10 years. Had a half a decent season at Roma, didn't he?
Pretty much.
But yeah, completed 92% of his passes. 5 tackles, which was a match high, and 4 interceptions too. So he's the fulcrum of that side. And this was redemption for Bradley and Altidore, wasn't it? As they were both booed by American fans after the USA failed to win the World Cup, although, you know, done it for Canadian fans, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
So maybe they should up sticks and leave, repatriate. Canada is an infinitely better country at the minute.
Well, it's just nicer, isn't it? Full of bears, not Americans. At Jamalera has our next losers, and as you can tell from his name, they are Italian. It's Napoli. Ooh, what happened to them, Hamill?
Oh, they're trying their best, aren't they, to
Are they?
up their chances of winning the Scudetto.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they missed the chance to go top of Serie A after drawing with La Viola, one of the most satisfying nicknames to say in football. La Viola. That's Fiorentina. 0-0 at the Stadio San Paolo. You're trying to think of one that's more satisfying to say now, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
I'm just waiting for you to finish.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you're going to be waiting a while because I've got 4 more bullet points. Yes, it's the first time as well in a Serie A match day since 1965 that Napoli, Juventus, Inter and Roma have all succumbed to bore draws where there's been no goals scored. So, not a great weekend at the summit of Serie A.
Not a great weekend for Opta with stats like that.
Bleak.
That's embarrassing.
Hard to write a script. So, let me, commence. Also, the first time Napoli have failed to score in back-to-back league games under Maurizio Sarri, so an odd downturn in form for them. The home side eventually outshot the visitors 10-6 after a sluggish start, but only registered 1 more shot on target. La Viola actually looked more threatening in the first half, with Giovanni Simeone twice coming close with deep crosses from Badelj causing discomfort in Sarri's backline. Insigne had to drop out of this game after aggravating an existing groin injury. And my oh my did they miss him, although his replacement, Piotr Zielinski, was perhaps a little donkey's most threatening outlet. He narrowly put one over and hit the post, drawing a very good save from Sportiello's in the Fiorentina net. But it's a pretty flat game, wasn't it, mate?
Yeah, Napoli had 1 shot in the entire first half. And you could say that's good play from Fiorentina, but you would expect Napoli to do better. It's actually the 8th time that Sarri and Stefano Pioli have met. None of those games had ended in a draw before this. But Pioli was delighted with the result, and why wouldn't you be? An away game at Napoli is hard. He moves his team up to 8th. With 22 points. This game normally produces 2.4 goals over the last 17 times it's been played. The last 2 finished 4-1 to Napoli and 3-3. So we were expecting goals and we were promptly disappointed. The only player to come out of it really in a positive light, apart from maybe Zielinski, was Kalidou Koulibaly. He won 6 aerial duels, he made 4 tackles and interceptions combined, and continued his excellent passing out of defence. 90 passes he completed in this game with an 88% success rate. But perhaps that tells the story that Koulibaly was making the most passes instead of Jorginho in the midfield. So it shows that actually they weren't as incisive. They weren't playing as high up the field as they would normally want to.
I thought Alan was good.
I like him.
Okay, he's busy.
2 L's in Alan.
Ball. Yeah.
Tries to make it a little bit more exotic, but he's failed. You're still called Alan.
Alan.
The partridge.
Alan.
Anyway, they've got Torino up next, and they will hope that that lack of Champions League football now means that they can rest their first team in European matches and concentrate on the league. I think we all hope that at the very least they make it interesting until the final days of the season. But for this week, they're in our losers.
Our last winner comes from Aaron Hegarty. And while Inter Milan, Pato, may have drew the top of the Serie A, aren't they?
Yeah, they drew 0-0 with Juventus, but that keeps them at the top of the table. And thanks to that 0-0 draw for Napoli, it means that they have actually made ground kind of on their rivals. Plus, given the way this game went, I think they can be pretty happy. Of course, they're away in Turin. That's always difficult. And they're pretty much playing for a draw. They got it. It was even on possession, but Juve had 19 shots to Inter's 6. Juve had 8 on target. Inter had 1. It's actually the first time since May 2014 that Inter have failed to attempt a single shot in the first half of a Serie A game. So they were seriously under the cosh. It was solid defensive display by them though. Milan Skriniar continues his excellent form. The last team that kept a clean sheet in an away Serie A game against Juventus was Udinese back in August 2015. So that really shows that this was a hell of an achievement, and it took a little bit of luck and a lot of quality. Miranda made a clearance off the line to ensure that clean sheet for Handanovic. But while the Bianconeri may have deserved more than a point, they didn't get more, did they?
Yeah, and the old lady threw the kitchen sink at it too. Dybala rested for the game, but forced to come on in the 75th minute. Didn't have much impact in that 15-20 minutes. Got 1 shot off, completed 0 dribbles and didn't create any chances for his teammates. So things were sort of winding down by then into a grinding out that point, weren't they? Higuain, Pepita as well, also had a very quiet game, only had 1 shot. It was on target, but it was also from outside the box, Pato. Not his customary high quality chance inside the box. predatory instincts on show. But Chelsea reject Juan Cuadrado. Why do we describe Juan Cuadrado as a Chelsea reject?
It's George.
He played for Chelsea like 5 years ago. Anyway, he was their danger man.
Negative terms.
Yeah, on the night, creating 4 chances, completing 4 dribbles, even winning 4 tackles, even completing 4 tackles. So an all-round performance from him, as you'd expect. He's a very busy player, isn't he? But 5 points now separate the top 4 in Serie A. Who said Italian football was dead? Next week, they all have comfortable fixtures, though, before Juventus host Roma on the 23rd.
Oh, the 23rd.
Yes.
El Clasico. Juve
football.
Roma. Mince pies.
Stat Wars, the drinking game might be out then.
Brrr.
Won't be.
It's going to be quality, mate.
Because it's the 24th, I think the 23rd's a Friday. But if it is a Saturday, you're in for a treat.
Google Calendar.
Anyway.
Chill out, mate.
But can Inter win their first Scudetto in 8 years under Giuliano Spalletti? It's looking like it, isn't it? Maybe. Let us know in the poll just there. Inter, Napoli, others.
At Guna JHH has our final loser of the week, and it's PSV, the anagram lovers, PVS. There you go. Why? What happened to these idiots?
Yeah?
Ugh, you're such a racist.
Anyway, PSV were beaten 3-0 by Ajax, putting the 3rd place Amsterdam side within 7 points of them at the summit of the table. PSV were actually on a remarkable run beforehand, winning their last 10 Eredivisie matches, and they're also normally pretty good at Ajax away. PSV have picked up 37 points from games against Ajax in the Amsterdam Arena, at least 18 more than any other team has managed against Ajax since the stadium opened in 1996.
That's genuinely quite interesting.
All the Eredivisie knowledge. But by half-time, you could tell it wasn't going to be PSV's day. They committed 10 fouls. That's 4 more than touches they had in the opposition's box. That's how you shoehorn a relatively meaningless stat into a script. Anyway, Hirving Lozano was the only PSV striker who registered a shot on target in this game. I think they only produced around 6 in total, their lowest amount in an Eredivisie game since December 2013. Philip Koku's men evidently struggled in this game, only had 38% possession. Their average is around the 50% mark, and there was a certain Brazilian causing them all sorts of problems throughout the 90.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. PSV have traditionally been the ones who find Brazilian talent. They brought Ronaldo and Romario over to the Eredivisie, but Ajax now have won the kid, David Neres. He got a goal and an assist. He's now got 7 goals, 7 assists in the Eredivisie this season, meaning that he's got more goals scored and assisted than any other player in the league. He's on 14. Next, your boy Chucky on 13.
His goal just trickled in from about 30 yards as well.
Well, they all count, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Judgy. Dick. Anyway, the second oldest man in the Ajax squad, Lasse Schöne, also got on the score sheet. He banged one in from just outside the box. He's got 7 Eredivisie goals from outside the box in 2017. That's at least 2 more than any other player. You say good, I say unsustainable. But it's a really good season for Ajax. This is actually the first time they've beaten Feyenoord and PSV by 3-goal margins in a single season for the first time since 2009-10. I said first time twice. I'm not doing it again. Took ages to say, and it wasn't that interesting. Anyway, the only team that's managed to overcome a 10-point gap between them and the league leaders to become title winners, Ajax. So,
boom.
Is that good? I don't really know. What that suggests is it happens extremely rarely. So they
there
probably will not do it.
New manager good? He was managing the reserve side, wasn't he? The young Ajax.
Yeah.
Is he any good?
I don't know. He's fine, probably. It's all right. Anyway, can they do it again? Can they come back and win? Let us know in the comments below, but we won't read it because Hamill doesn't care about the Eredivisie. Oh, it's not as good as Scottish football, you f***ing idiot.
I'm always in the comments. Where are you? You never read them. You're so lazy.
I'm just beneath me.
All right, fair. I mean, they are literally beneath the video. They're
Hey!
beneath it, so.
In the other way.
So that was the Euro roundup this week. What a doozy. Van Straten. Deja vu. What else is happening?
Winners and losers is happening over on the other channel. And of course, 90 plus 1 facts had Man City go out just in time for the derby, which Man City won. So there you go.
Winners
Synergy.
on winners and losers.
Losers sitting here doing this shit show. Bye. That'd be